You're listening to Truth in the Afternoon. I'm your host, Dr. Ken Harris. 833-212-1017 is the number. Always remember, you can check us out live on YouTube and at 1017thetruth.com. Just make sure you hit the subscribe button, and then you can actually watch us or listen live. So we've got a special guest here, and I'm saying special only because the first time I met her was on LinkedIn. And, you know, sometimes you send people things on LinkedIn and you go, and you hit the button and go, hey, and I'd love to have you on the show. And then you think, okay, well, she's the Milwaukee Public School Superintendent. She just got here. She'll probably. Like 3 minutes later, she goes, hey, I'd love that. Here's the number of the guy you should contact us. Oh, okay. And so I have in studio the Milwaukee Public School Superintendent Brenda Cassellius. Good evening. How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you doing?
I'm doing good.
Good.
Welcome to Milwaukee.
I love Milwaukee.
And welcome to Milwaukee Black Talk 1017.
All right. Bring it on.
And so there are so many questions, but I know everyone is just begging to ask, so let's just get that out of the way. Were your reports that were due sent to Department of Public Instruction?
Some of them were. So we had a list of things that we had to get to the Department of Public Instruction. They have been terrific partners, let me just say that, and terrifically patient with us, but also, you know, holding us accountable and holding us to what we need to do to deliver on that, as they should. And so, but I think the public knows that I stepped into something that was quite a snarled, complex budgeting situation and finance situation, and it's just going to take some time to clean it up. And so, you know, with delivering what the state needs and then also coming to the state with a really clear plan forward and how we won't be in this mess any longer, I think is what they needed to see to be able to have confidence in us. So I think, you know, they'll continue to hold us for the final things that need to get delivered this week. And then as we continue to finish out our audit with our auditors, then they'll release the funds for us as that moves along.
Is there a time frame for when you expect everything to be in and caught up?
Well, I think that everything needs to be into them. Well, obviously, back on May 16th, to be truthful. But you know, we are continuing to work on it. Our team is there around the clock. You know, you may have heard that I moved the finance division up outside the superintendent's suite for greater work product, and also for me just to see close up what our delays were and to understand better the workflow that was going on as a person who's not an accountant, to really be able to understand what was the barrier. And there are significant barriers with our system talking to the state system, and that's what's causing what's called these errors. And so we needed to be able to clear up those errors, and that just takes manpower to do. And so we are doing that diligently. We've cleaned up almost all of them, and hope to have all of them cleared up within the next day or so, and delivering them what they need to be able to run their calculations on time. I have no doubt that they'll be able to get what they need from us absolutely by end of week, but it's also them being assured that our numbers and our systems are talking, and that's what the auditors do. So I think that might take another 2 weeks probably for the auditors to finish their work.
Okay, so let's rewind. Who is Dr. Brenda Cassellius? Where are you from? How'd you end up in education?
Well, I grew up in the Southeast Projects in public housing to a single mom in Minneapolis, Minnesota. And so I'm from Minnesota. I think a lot of people think I'm from Boston because I was superintendent there during the pandemic time. But I was state commissioner of education in Minnesota under Governor Mark Dayton for 8 years. I've been a school paraprofessional. I served students who were emotionally and behavior disturbed as a teacher's aide, and then moved my way up to being a teacher, social studies teacher, and a school leader, and then a district leader, superintendent, and state commissioner. And so that's who I am. I have 3 beautiful children. I was a single mom for 10 years. So I know what that's like and how hard that is, you know, to work full time, doing the grind, and then going to school in the evenings to get my administrative degree, get my superintendent's license, and to make sure that my children were taken care of.
So why education? Of all the things you could have done, with all the education you have? Why
Well,
was
I have a family of educators on my dad's side. My dad's African American, and my mom is Lebanese. And my dad, even though he didn't live with us, he for all of my years in childhood, he was a big part of my life and who I was, and the legacy of my grandfather and grandmother. Both my dad's parents, they are both professors at Florida A&M University, historically black university. And my grandfather, Melvin Alston, was a business teacher and also the president of the Negro Teachers Union in Norfolk, Virginia. And he fought for black teachers to get the same pay as white teachers. And nice little fact is there's this pretty new lawyer at the NAACP, Thurgood Marshall, and Thurgood Marshall was my grandfather's lawyer.
Wow.
And they won that case.
Yes, they did.
It was one of the first cases, that he had won in federal court, and it was a case that led to and made case study for Brown.
Interesting.
So I knew that legacy. I knew education was important. My grandmother was also the first African American to be appointed by Governor Askew to the Leon County School Board, and so they're very prominent educators, and it's always been an interest. And not to mention, people paid it forward for me when I was a kid. And I had government programs and social programs and a social safety net that helped get me through, get me out of poverty. And so I took advantage of every single opportunity in front of me. Was a camp kid. I went to camp for 2 weeks out of every summer. I was in athletics at the local park and rec board. I had coaches. I had teachers. I had mentors. I had people in the community looking out for me. My nickname, I don't think I've told anybody this yet in Milwaukee, but my nickname was Peanuts. And so, I just had a lot of love. I'll say that I, grew up in poverty, but I never had a poverty of love. And I think when children are loved and they have opportunity in front of them, they will meet those expectations.
So what's your future? What does MPS look like when you leave?
Well, I hope that the district will have addressed all of the issues within the operational audit. We have an academic audit coming out shortly. Obviously, our black children are at the rock bottom for performance on standardized testing as compared to their national peers across 25 other large urban districts. I would love to see us move that needle for us to be in the top 10. And so that is important to me. I've always dedicated my life to children who are experiencing poverty and children who are black and brown, like myself. And that's my life vocation and what I believe God put me on this earth for and why God brought me to Milwaukee, and that is to make a difference for our black and brown children and our children who are most vulnerable.
What are some of your immediate changes? I know you did a, what's the word I want to use? A switcheroo as it relates to a good number. And it's strange because people know I've been beating up MPS for 4 years. Right? I'm a product.
Now you're going to have something good to talk about. That's good.
Absolutely. I'm a product of Chicago Public Schools. Okay. I support public, private, whatever the best way is for a student to learn.
Yep.
But I think one of the most important things is to identify and make sure that public schools are there and they're doing well.
Yeah.
And that's why you were brought in early.
Yeah.
Right? So you made changes where you moved paraprofessionals, you moved whoever out of the administrative office and back into the schools.
Licensed teachers.
Right. The first thing I noticed was that there seems to be an inordinate amount that we have a shortage of teachers, but they're at the office.
Well, we have currently 231 vacancies of classroom teachers. Mm-hmm. That to me is unacceptable. Every child deserves a caring and competent teacher and a permanent, licensed, experienced teacher in their classroom. And the fact that we had so many at the district office and not enough in our classrooms, permanent classroom teachers, was a concern of mine. Now, certainly, many of these teachers are considered itinerant teachers, meaning they do provide support to children within schools, and they do go out to schools and provide additional support. But what's missing, here in the overall picture is that there are still 231 teachers who don't have a permanent teacher all day with them. And so that to me seems to be a priority, and that's what I want to work on. And so not only will this help with putting some of those positions back in schools, but what will also help is that we will just set our mindset in that our priority is children, and our priority is a permanent teacher. Our priority is that they're licensed and capable and able to do this work, and that's where they are. On the other hand, it's a strategy that I'm shifting from more of a centrally focused strategy to one where we build the capacity within the school, and that those services are provided within a school building.
Do all teachers have to be certified?
All teachers are to be licensed.
Well, licensed, okay.
And but there are too many teachers in our classrooms who have permits, which are short-term permits. And we provide support to them through mentoring so that they can get their permanent license. And then there are, when we don't have teachers available, then there are substitute teachers, and then there are teachers who are paraprofessionals, who are teacher assistants, who may hold an associate's degree, but not necessarily licensed in the methodologies and, big word called pedagogy of, really instruction and understanding all the learners you have in front of you. And so we want to make sure that we have experienced, caring, competent, licensed personnel. And that means a lot more work with our HR department to ensure that they're going out there, recruiting some of our young teachers, growing our own, and making sure our paraprofessionals who love and care for our students and have been in our schools already have what they need to become licensed teachers and get the right kind of experience to be prepared for working with our students, and making sure that our elementary teachers are steeped in literacy instruction and understanding literacy instruction. You asked me, what do I want for the district to look like? I want our kids reading, and I want to make sure that our teachers have what they need to be able to affect that change.
Okay. Is there anything, but before we go to break, I want to ask you, is there anything that parents, supporters, teachers, anybody needs to understand about MPS today?
Well, I think what they should know is that I think that there are a lot of bright spots within MPS that, you can take what's good and make it even better. And I think that there are some things that are really broken. And so we'll work on those things that I think are systemic, that we need to fix. A lot of those are identified by the governor's audit and will be revealed in the governor's academic audit. And so we will diligently work on those things, but it will take time. And I think that, we will work with the urgency that is necessary and that our students deserve. But it does also take time. And I know it's been frustrating for leadership turnover within the district, and frustrating that maybe they don't get the kind of response time that they'd like. But I'm also working on transparency and rebuilding trust with the community. And I think that that's important. And one of the first steps I took was creating a family and community engagement office. And we'll be working through our parent coordinators. We'll be creating some revisions with our district advisory council, which is our parent advisory council, and adding 2 additional councils, one for parents of students with special needs, and then another one for parents whose students speak a language at home that is not English.
We are talking to Dr. Brenda Cassellius. She is Cassellius. Cassellius.
Like you're selling something.
All right. Superintendent of the Milwaukee Public Schools. When we come back, your questions, 833-212-1017 is the number. You can hit us on the YouTube chat or the talk and text line when we come back. I do have a question, and then I got a series of questions I want to ask you so that people can actually get to know you.
Okay.
But I see there are people here that are like, sitting here going, hey, I'm watching you. So, but we want to get to know you because we heard a lot about the interview. We saw the interview. But I think what happens sometimes is when people are in leadership, people don't get to know the person to recognize that they have a life and they have kids and they have, I got to wake up and get ready like everybody else and get to work and all those things. And so I think it's important that we know our leadership.
Absolutely.
And I want to say thank you for being here.
Of course.
All right.
You'll have to have me back, too.
Absolutely. We'll be right back. You're listening to Truth in the Afternoon.